I came from, I was living in a motel for about $260 a month. I came in here 2 years ago. And what happened was, I came in here, I've lived here for 2 years, I've grown to like this place. And ever since I've been here, I had nothing but, good luck and had good times here. And all of a sudden, the two new managers they sold the building and they got two new managers. And all of a sudden, I'm out of here. All of a sudden, after 2 years. I mean, I've been harassed by Ray, who assumed that he saw me throwing cigarette butts on the ground. And one time, I admit, I've done a couple of things. I got caught in the elevator with a cigarette, and I did have cat, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. But, those were the truth. But I say that they've exasperated the point where they're using that as a tool and then they turn around and did this.
One of the primary reasons is no discipline. I learned a long time ago, when I was a boy, my father told me twice, maybe, to do something. He'd tell you the first time, maybe you didn't hear him that time, but you better hear him the next time. Or off would come the belt. I have even been whipped with a horse tug, a leather horse tug.
Problem with this building, we have two managers. We have a wife and a husband. And the wife tries very hard to be suitable with people and businesslike, matter of fact, and even friendly. And it makes a number of us kind of sad to think that she's married to this Ray and wondering how he treats her. And I think sometimes she has to cover up for him. And like this afternoon, she shared with me a cigarette. She said, "Here, take this cigarette and the lighter. Please go away."
I caught Ray looking up my window. I looked down on my window. He was trying to look up at my window. This man has pushed me. I mean, literally, I had a 7C guy deliver my food here, and he started harassing the 7C guy. And then he started arguing with him, and he had alcohol on his breath. I said, "Hey, leave this man alone. He just wants to deliver his food." And then he pushed me. He said, "Mind your own business." And I caught this man. I told him he was looking up my window. I told him, "Quit looking up my window. What are you looking up my window for? Mind your own business. All you need is one more, and you're out of here. One more 10-day write-up, and you're out of here." And it goes on and on. This man, I've heard him arguing with other people at my window. I had a friend there who would vouch that she heard the arguing. This guy has said he wanted to get rid of all the disabled and all the cats out of here. He said all Section 8 and cats out of here.
This very afternoon, the man manager, Ray, told me on the porch, "Well, I'm going to have you move out pretty soon." And I said to him, "Well, I'm already planning to move out. I'm making some plans." And he said something, but I also had observed him drinking something this afternoon while sitting on the porch prior to this few sentences. And I would only presume that it was beer, because I've specifically taken note at other times that what he had in his hands was beer. I've heard from other persons in the building, yes, he does drink beer. And fine, a person can drink beer, but not while they're actually on duty at their jobs as manager of a building.
He evicted me. That's one thing. You know what? They gave me a 20 days till I'm out of here deal on the eviction notice, and he didn't say anything. And by law, I guess they can do that. They can choose to do that. But he didn't tell me why he evicted. In fact, I didn't even get my third 10-day notice. I didn't even get my third 10-day notice. I got two of them. They just gave me that 2 weeks later after I called him arguing about me about looking up my window. When he was looking up my window, I told him, "What are you doing?" He told me to mind my own business. And then 2 weeks later, he gives me that on the 10th, 2 days before my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Sam.
What I'm talking about is these 10-day notices. City of Seattle says you must give 3 10-day notices within a year to evict a tenant. That's not what state law says. State law says 20 days eviction and they're off the property as soon as practical thereafter.
It's going to take me off my Section 8, which makes me lose a lot more money, which my SSI diminished. And if it gets diminished, I lose more than, I only pay $108 in rent. You know the rent's just $95. You do your own mathematical figure. If I would have stayed here even just a year or two more, I'd lose over $5,000, $10,000 within a period of a year or better. I mean, I'm losing a lot of money. I had to give up my own cat. I had to give him up. I gave up a kitten. I just gave him away for free now. I just went and said, "Here, anybody want him?" I mean, I was hoping to get at least $50 so I can take care of my cat, but my other cat, and just get rid of the kitten. I can't do that. And it's just like, my reputation's ruined. It took me a long time to build up my reputation. It took a long time to build up my credit. And it took me a long time. It took me a year to get into this place and get on Section 8.
Do you love God, Jim?
Do I love God? Why do you make me say or ask these ridiculous? I mean, that's personal. That's you don't ask people like that, do you? I mean, oh yeah, if you get to know them.
It got me in trouble. I was suspected of pedophilia, and I mean this is what embarrassing. But to know that you want it, you know, I was taking liberty to relieve myself. I'm ashamed to admit it. But there were bushes, and I had told the cop. He said, "Why did you do it? Didn't you think you?" And I said, "Honestly, I wasn't aware of being, observed."
Well, we were together for about 10 months.
What happened?
And she thought I was going to molest her daughter, which I never would do. But she got the idea was nobody could figure out why she thought that, and so that's why I left. But she only left me alone with her 12-year-old daughter a couple times. If I was going to do it, I would have done that, but I would never do that to anybody. I don't know why nobody could figure out why she thought that either. I would never do that to anybody.
Use the word pedophile, and that word wasn't exactly in my vocabulary. And I am just the opposite. I have that very good, I'm not that kind at all. I won't go.
Well, first of all, I'm not that kind of guy. Another reason is I go to jail for that. Another reason is because everybody would be against me. Another reason is definitely called divorce. Another reason I didn't want to. Another reason is I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it if I didn't want to.
He is, as we won't go into his disability, but he is honest. He's harmless, but he is very prejudiced, or shall we say stubborn, about some things. And as somebody here said, she had a relative, what is it called? Denial. He's in denial of things that he doesn't like to face, including his disability about speech. Sometimes he, warbles. I don't like to get on him, but he denies that.
Knowing his background experience doesn't have to be all the parties, or drinking beer or alcohol or different things with it, because it comes with the territory. And that person knows that somewhat I like to party, but somewhat I do not, because I don't want my place broken into. I don't want things happening to him, and he doesn't want things happen to him. And I'm afraid. I'm not afraid to face God, but the way things are, it's very difficult to, that's a private matter between him and somebody else.
I ain't proud of you either.
What's the matter?
Dale said you're gonna be fine. You're dead. I don't. Like, you can't even focus upward. Boring to you, boring to me. Why'd you get so hard to be so damn stupid?
What do you mean?
Why?
Why what?
Why do you get hurt so hard?
I don't know.
Right there.
My father was a major in the United States Army, retired. He was a drill instructor. Being the only son with two older sisters, he was a very dominating factor and very strict and demanding the best for his children to do. There was no second standard. It is to be the best standard. It was good training, good background. It did teach a lot of respect. Where the only problem is you understand that nothing is perfect, and when you expect perfection, you will fall. And when you can, as something falls down, try to put a smile on it and make a funny joke about it. But it was a good upbringing, brought up in a military fashion, as we call a military brat, and I was actually very blessed to have that type of upbringing.
Yes, there is. In my regular board, some corporal punishment along with verbal discipline, not threats. If you threaten, carry out the threat, regardless of what you're doing. That even goes in management.
I don't think I was treated right. My father was a very strict man. He was, I think, he told me I was lazy a lot, but see, I don't think he looked at the fact, my stepfather didn't look at the fact that I didn't grow up on a farm like he did. He was a farm boy, and I could be as active as he wanted to. However, I got some I had a lot of good times, you know. I was in all through junior high school. I was pushed around for 3 years.
I don't believe in beating anybody, but you must have corporal punishment. You must have it in your home, starting way down here, and then you don't beat anybody. But you must have some corporal punishment when there's disobedience.
Well, they both did. My mother usually, my dad would hit you in the forehead, the back of his hand. My mother would, slap me across the face sometimes. But not all the time. Sometimes they'd just holler at you. They did a lot of hollering.
Well, if you called your father making you go out and pick up rocks out of the acre-and-a-half lot we were on, and having to put all these rocks in little piles and have to do it in front of all the neighbor kids and everything, yeah, that was a form of abuse, but I recovered from it. I didn't let it affect me as an adult.
This afternoon from my 4th floor, and with the door open to the 4th floor porch, I heard a child screaming, and I quickly went out to my porch, listened a minute to see where the screaming was, and ascertained it was all the way down at the other end of the building where a child lives, approximately 4 years old. And I decided that's who was screaming. And then I saw the child come running out of her 1st floor apartment, and then her older brother come running out and carrying her back in the house. And I thought, something's wrong here. I went downstairs, I walked down to that apartment, sat on their porch for a moment till someone came out to see me. Finally, someone explained the little child had spilled milk, taken a container of milk out of the refrigerator, I suppose, and spilled it.
If you can't see that, if you don't know that a child is being abused, you're not going to report it. And a lot of times, if a person does know if a child's being abused, they wouldn't know what branch of the government to report it to.
I've seen other events. I've seen other events with the same child. Today, I presume they hit her, slapped her with a belt, with a hand, something, but it hurt her very much. She was screaming.
That includes in the schools. This is what's wrong with the schools. These kids, there's no discipline. By law, they can't discipline. This bunch over here in Olympia saw to that.
My depression started, I was student teaching. My college was Allegheny College, Pennsylvania. We were sent to Cleveland, Ohio to do student teaching, just across the next state. Well, we lived in a hotel, some of the student teachers living together. I was teaching in a black school. And I was not at all equipped for this black school. Hardly the issue of it being black is not the issue, but the teachers were tough on the children. And the children were tough kids. And they did paddling to the kids, even first graders paddled the kids in the schools. And this upset me very much. And I was not prepared or able to accept that that's how the kids in even first grade were treated. And I just went into a depression. I was a senior in college, and I wasn't going to be able to pass my student teaching because I didn't handle the class well and I wasn't coping well. And I failed student teaching, and I went home and stayed in bed for months and eventually got some good psychiatric care. Went back to Allegheny the next year and graduated. I still wanted to be a teacher, so some years later I went to Hofstra University on Long Island and got a master's degree and got an A in student teaching with better supervision. But I still wasn't prepared to be a teacher. And I moved. I was married for a short time. I moved with my husband to Baltimore, Maryland, and I was hired by the Baltimore schools for special education. But I still wasn't prepared to do that. Eventually, when I came to Seattle, I had a number of private jobs. I worked with private families somewhat, took care of infants. So I became that I had a specialty with infant care. Anyway, I had a lot of training with children, a lot of exposure to children, and I think if you treat them well, you bring out their best, and if they're really acting with disrespect or something, you somehow have to deal with that or set an example of respect. But punishment isn't always the answer.
They're not on welfare. They're on Social Security. And I would suggest not having you talk that way to other people, because welfare, if they are on a certain type of assistance, if they have people working, what's the use to have welfare or public assistance or a grant? A grant can come from the state, and that's about all.
Oh no, I'm not gonna, come on John, you come
Tell
on.
me the truth, Oliver.
The truth will set you free.
For 15 minutes, let John have him.
Well, what are you guys going to do?
Friendship, can we talk? What's the matter?
Well, why can't you talk with him outside? Isn't that true, Jim?
Are you that damn scared you can't have the friends together?
Well,
MC would say,
I'm just feeling left out, that's all. I don't know why you
then
want...
you should be for 15 minutes. The more you ask about, the worse you are, like Karen, getting flip out weird.
What do you mean?
MC says, do it now. Cut.
Jesus, or Jesus Christ, those were very brutal times of barbarism. And it was interesting and nice to read how he was brought up and trained, as people didn't live very long in those ages. It was very uniquely interesting how there were miracles that were done that were simply stunning. And even to have writings about it later was most remarkable, especially the tales of his arising. I think it's kind of neat. I like that.
Here in Seattle, I'm a member of University Congregational Church. Not that I always get there, but I consider myself Christian, and the Congregational Church has an open policy toward people of all identities, and it's quite a more open, accepting church than some other churches that I know. And the faith and good feelings I get there from other people in the church and having a faith in God, I think this is helpful to me.
I go to church and I pray to the Father, the Savior, and the Holy Spirit because I'm an Episcopalian. And I just have a very good relationship with God. I think He hears my prayers, so He knows what I need before I need it. And He's going to help me fill out my life, what I'm supposed to do with my life. He's going to help me do in the near or far future, or when He's ready to show me His plan, which I don't know when that's going to be. But I'm patient, and I'm just going about doing what I can till He gets to me.
I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian since I was 18 years old. I'm an old man now of 35. So my belief is basically purely the Bible. If you want to know the truth, go to the Bible. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm not going to hit nobody over the head with it or nothing, but that's what I believe. Jesus Christ, He died, He buried, and He resurrected, and He also going to bring us back home again. I mean, the gospel's for everybody. That's pretty much my belief.
I just have a very strong belief in, I have a strong belief in my God. I have a strong belief in my abilities and in my knowledge.
What's exactly eating Paul? You know? God! Hey, Larry! This is stupid.
What's the matter, Joe?
I left my keys in there and locked out, or he locked me in. I didn't lock the door. I don't think. Come on. This is, you're getting the, this is a hell of, what can I call?
Well, isn't Larry there? Jim?
Oh, he's terrible. It's terrible.
Jim?
Hmm?
Where's Larry?
He's there.
Well, just knock on the door.
I did.
We gotta knock a little louder, that's all. Knock louder.
God.
It's all right, Jim, let it out.
Larry, what shall I say? Hey, Larry, Jim.
What's shaking,
Leave the
Larry?
door unlocked, will you? I'll be back in a few minutes. Huh? I didn't know. I'm glad you're back.
Glad you're back, Larry.
I'm surprised you're glad you're back.
Can I talk to you later?
We'll just wait till John comes out, okay? Here. John,
Like a whore having a bad day.
I just wanted to tell you that Jim wants to come in. And he's
Jim, you got a car, right?
Hi, I'm gonna,
How long does it take to get to your bank?
I can do it in 10 minutes or less.
Go now, he's only had 14 left.
Thank you.
Take
You're
the
right.
puppy with you.
All right.
You, get the fuck out of here. Jim, if you come back and you make it, go for it and come on back. Go now, like emergency.
Right.
No stop. You.
Thank you, John. I'll come back.
Jim's running. Kelly,
Emergency.
John spoke the word, true.
Go! You fucked up.
you're not mad.
I'll talk to you later.
Are
I'm
you
not
mad?
mad at you. You fucked up.
Why?
You hurt someone. It's not DLC with Madam Sue nor I. You hurt. Paycheck is not one that should come first.
No,
You did it wrong.
he can't get it today anyways, John.
Yes, you can. Shame on you.
He can get it
You did it
tomorrow.
wrong. Girlfriends and paychecks, number 2 and number 1.
When we moved here, I had a beautiful little cockapoo that was going blind and deaf. And he only lived about a year here. And well, he had a good heart. He had some accidents. he fell off. He survived a couple falls off the 3rd floor. But he had, what do you call it, those fits that some people have. They lose control, you know, of their, and so he died only a year and a half into our stay here. So then I got another. I was really empty. I had him for 8 years, or no, it was 12 maybe. But in any case, I got another dog called Molly, and she was wonderful, but she was quiet. In other words, you know, didn't bark. And I didn't mind. I took her on my delivery route even. She cried. There was a problem there, so I had to take her. She just wanted to be with me all the time, you know. And it was heaven, but you know, one day I lost her downtown through my own carelessness. My car was stolen and she was in it, and the car. You know, they found the car, but they never got her back. I don't know, what can I say? So, my friend Paul took a picture before. I have that. I honor the picture and the memory. What does it say? You bury her in your heart if there's somebody you love, and she's one of them.
In time, I can rid the complex of animals. But at the same time, I have to rid the complex of some people. Some of these people are dyed-in-the-wool cat lovers. And in some cases, it's a little bit difficult to keep your complex full unless you allow some animals. I don't like cats. Never did like cats. Cats belong in the barn, not in people's homes. I don't want them in my house. They're not going to be in my house. You know,
I wonder where they sleep.
65 years ago, I was raised with these damn things in the South. Huh?
You know what he wants.
Get up here, see? You got all those nuts, those hulls around your feet. How are you going to eat? Huh? How are you going to eat something like that?
They manage.
Huh?
Well, in this section out here in the Lake City area, there's a deviation of different ethics, as well as people from the Oriental background, blacks, Hispanics, whites, and all type of races. So there is a large deviation out here of all types of people. And the same thing goes with religion. So it's a multicultural area, which is very interesting and eye-opening at the same time.
It's better now than it used to be because there's a lot more police and neighborhood awareness groups that are going around that care about trying to keep the community, the Lake City community, apartment city around here, and the houses on the other side of Lake City where people are really caring about their neighborhoods and who their neighbors are, what their neighbors are doing, and all stuff like that. People are keeping an eye on each other. Try to keep it cleaner and keep the drugs out, and less need for everybody to keep calling 911.
There's a lot of drugs and prostitutions in this neighborhood. And the area has been so designed by people who make ordinances and rules and regulations that they've practically stacked these apartment houses up against one another. There's no parking for the people to park on the streets. It's practically non-existent.
Well, it's not as bad now, but there used to be a lot of drug dealers and a lot of people here with AIDS and a lot of people, a lot of theft. And there's a lot of strong language, but that calmed down. It's a lot better now.
Thank you is I'm tired.
Why?
Thank you is I'm tired.
Why are you tired?
This and that and all things. Thank you is everything. I want to quit cigarettes because they'll do things without me.
You want to quit smoking?
But I want to have someone do things without me. The bingo is cigarettes. It's dangerous.
You want to quit smoking?
I like to quit bingo.
Do you think
I
you...
am sorry, but tell the truth. I lie.
The front of the building's very noisy where the cars, traffic, and ingress and egress of the facilities. The back of the apartment complexes are a lot more quiet. There are better and worse places, but when you have an animal, a cat or a dog, this is a good place to live. Through 10 years, we've had pay raises, but wherever you may live, you're going to have pay raises. That will inflict how much your rent goes up, etc., isn't that? But it's not a bad place to live.
I'm gonna grab a box and I'm gonna buy stuffed animals. You know? Yeah. And I'm gonna ship them. I'm gonna ship them to the Philippines. It doesn't come with, it comes with its parents, it comes with ideas, and it comes from different people. But that person goes to a counselor that has 2 or 3 months with that counselor, which is like smoking a cigarette, you know. And I'm craving for dying for one right now, and that's all that matters.
If I be remembered by anything, I hope that I would be remembered by what God has taught me and what I've left. Because I'm not here for me anymore. I'm here for God. So basically what I hope I leave behind is something that Christ put in me and that has changed people's lives.
I agree that we were a dysfunctional family. We weren't taught very good communication. I think we were a loving family, but we weren't taught skills of communication. My parents didn't communicate very well with each other, and we grew up not with all the skills we wanted. And each of the children in the family has kind of been self-taught through our own experiences. And once I was diagnosed with bipolar illness and put on the proper medicine, I've had complete support from my siblings, and I've been totally fortunate. And when my mother was still alive, I had complete support from her too.
You want to kick? I haven't kicked the ball in a long time. Oh, there goes the whole shit. I'm not afraid to die. I'm ready to go. I'll go today if you want me to. I'm not afraid to die because I know where I go. The people who are afraid to die because they don't know what to expect afterwards. I believe my feeling on people who are afraid to die is because they don't know what they're looking for. It's a new experience. There's 2 things that most people are afraid of, and that is standing in front of a large crowd and speaking to them, which I've done that before, and I've done that quite well, successfully, and also speaking to a big group and dying. I'm not afraid of dying because I know I'm going to live eternally. People who don't have that assurance, that hope, don't know that. They can know it if somebody shares it to them. So if there's anybody out there who wants to share it with them, do it. It's your job. By the way, I'm not afraid to die because I know I'll be with God. So, no, I'm not afraid to die. Are you afraid to die?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's quite a normal fear. It's a real fear, though. It's something you have to come in terms with sometimes. It's okay, though.
Not per se scare me, because no, I've faced death more time than one. You bet. When you're looking down the barrel of a German Luger, that's about as close as you get.
No. Already done that and came back. I'm not afraid of death at all because I know God, it's the Father, the Savior, and the Holy Spirit will take my soul when it leaves this world It's going to go stay with him in heaven.
I don't think about it too much. In my life, in my depressions, I've made some suicide threats, not in recent years, but over time, and nothing was serious enough. I was always found, whatever the situation, and I never was that close to death. And really, my own mechanism is I don't think about it too much.
Yeah, but they made one bad move. They took away my parking spot, and they said now I have to park in visitor parking. They didn't reduce the rent. Worked here, wanted access to his workroom. We took that one, and I got 24, and they took that away from me. They told me I had to do visitor parking. Sometimes it's all filled. And that doesn't make me happy.
I don't know. I enjoy anything.
Army wouldn't take me if I didn't.
Well, the humor is there. It's good to talk to.
I have met more people of different backgrounds, let's put it that way, than any other, with a few exceptions, than any place. My neighbors. And as I first remember meeting you, I wasn't exactly happy like Kelly was talking about, our neighbors. So, let's see, actually, was it 3? We were in another apartment. 2, 3, yeah. It was like heaven to get away from that building, that apartment, you know. And I can remember what we shared, the scenery, what did you call it? The happiest dog in the world, $1 million view. Those are what I really treasured.
And I would like to be remembered as the person who went downstairs, down the parking lot, and said, "What's going on here with the why is this child yelling?" I would like to be remembered for that.
In the past, there was a lot of drug problems in this area. If people don't know that, they have done a lot of cleaning up. Syringes do sometimes come around that may have been used for a purpose of illegal consumption. We asked the manager what to do with it, and eventually we just threw it away in the dumpster. So it was just quite a surprise. We never expected to see something like that. But the area in the past had a lot more drug problems and affliction of trafficking, narcotics, prostitution was much, much worse in the past than it is now.
Johnny, you must be on a fucking vacation. Excuse my French. At least I know which way you go when you get the first ding-a-ding. Good work. We'll try to talk to you. Do miss you. Do love you. On vacation. Get my body together. Love you. Till see. So's a common gold. What's new after 2.5 weeks? Love you. And go. Bye-bye for now.